And now to a name and face familiar to many of us here in the Bay Area. Andrew Yang ran for president back in 2020 on the platform of universal basic income. He's now a best-selling author and co-chair of the Forward Party. He joins us live now to talk about his new book, his thoughts on AI, and the 2024 race for the White House. Andrew, glad to see you.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be with you.
All right, so we'll get to your new book in just a moment, but we wanted to ask you first about the upcoming election. There's another Republican debate planned later this month. What are your thoughts about the candidates? Do you think any of them has a chance to beat the frontrunner here?
I'm an anyone but Trump guy. I certainly hope so. Unfortunately, Trump is up by 30 to 40 points. He's likely going to be the Republican nominee. And unfortunately, he has an excellent chance of beating Joe Biden in the general, particularly if you have multiple candidates in the race. It's truly disappointing. Two-thirds of Americans are not excited about either Joe Biden or Donald Trump. I'm someone who thinks the Democrats should have a competitive process. And if it's Joe, then it's Joe. But at this point, a lot of Americans would like to have some other alternatives.
All right, so in the interest of time, let's talk about your work with the Forward Party. You started it during the pandemic as a bit of a centrist alternative to the other two parties. As we all know, politically, the country is becoming increasingly divided. How hopeful are you that gap will close? And what do you think it will take for us to get there?
What it's going to take is a system that actually listens to us, listens to voters. And if you're in the Bay Area, Democrats run just about everything, but you might not be satisfied with what's happening with homelessness or housing or education or public safety. And there isn't much of a feedback mechanism. That's why the Forward Party wants to create an option, an alternative in San Francisco, in California, in other parts of the country. We're already the third biggest party in the country by resources about a year and a half in. I will say that there's a big gap between number 2 and number 3, but hey, you know, we've got number 3 with a big up arrow attached to us because people deserve better, that they deserve leaders that will actually answer to you.
All right, so what do you think it's going to take for both sides to really come together here? I mean, do you think we're ever going to overcome this intense polarization we're seeing?
The polarization's unfortunately just getting worse, and it's because the parties aren't responding to most voters. They're responding to the 10 to 12% most hyper-partisan. You also have media organizations, with local news as an exception, that like to separate us into teams, and then social media are pouring gasoline on the whole thing. So these forces are going to get stronger, not weaker, unless we do something very big and dramatic. Like California did in getting rid of the primaries in top 2, we should be getting rid of party primaries around the country. That's what Forward Party is doing, and we saw massive results with Alaska getting rid of its primaries. You had Sarah Palin losing in 2022 and Lisa Murkowski beating a Trump-endorsed challenger in a red state.
All right, Andrew, thank you for your perspective on that. I'd like to ask you now about another topic that's relevant to us here in the Bay Area, and that is artificial intelligence. A lot of AI development is happening right now in San Francisco. The mayor here calling the city the AI capital of the world. But you've personally raised some concerns about this technology. So do you have a message for the people developing AI here in the Bay Area?
No, I have a message for regulators in Sacramento and in D.C., which is it's the role of government to safeguard people from tools that can do incredibly wonderful things, but they can do quite harmful things. And if you look at the election of 24, we're probably going to see deep fake videos and audio tapes down the stretch because bad actors are going to want to win, or they're going to want to undermine public confidence. And it's up to government to actually make sure that there are appropriate safeguards. I think innovators should be innovating, and then I think government should be governing. I think asking innovators to somehow self-govern isn't going to work.
Okay, and while we're on that topic, a group of tech execs, including Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, they just met with legislators in Washington to talk about potential regulations around AI. How hopeful are you that this will lead to changes that benefit consumers and the economy?
I'd be more hopeful if there was a dedicated cabinet secretary and agency focused on AI, because everyone knows that it's developing so quickly that you could issue some kind of rule or regulation and be out of date literally a week later. So you need people who are knowledgeable and focused just on this set of issues, this set of tools. Until you see that, unfortunately, my level of optimism is going to be on the lower side.
Okay, and you campaigned on the idea of universal basic income. How relevant do you think that idea is today, given the performance of the economy and the growth of AI?
It's more and more relevant. I mean, you have the UAW workers going on strike. You have the actors and writers on strike. The actors and writers, it's about AI in part. I mean, the writers don't want their scripts to be fed to AI. Actors, I don't know if people realize this, but the studios would like to scan 1,000 background actors on AI, and then maybe you don't need background actors the next time. So the issues I ran for president on are here with us now, and we need a better way to help people succeed in the 21st century economy than trying to take 20th century measures and hope for the best.
Do you see yourself taking another stab at running for president at some point?
Oh, my joke, Stephanie, is apparently I've got another 40 years. But I'm going to do everything I can to help people. And running for office, certainly I enjoyed meeting Americans around the country, including a lot of friends in California. I had some incredible events and rallies in California. I mean, I'm still very much concerned about the future of the country, and I'm going to do everything I can.
All right, Andrew. So let's talk about your book, The Last Election. You said it's fiction, but how much did you draw from your own presidential campaign when you were putting this together?
I mean, you write what you know. And so I ran for president and said, you know what, I'd like to unpack for people what it actually is like running for president and why our current political system may not deliver us the kind of outcomes or results that we want. So I collaborated with a novelist. This is my first novel. The screenwrites are being shopped in Hollywood right now. It's very cinematic. But the goal is to tell an entertaining and compelling story that also scares you a little bit, and you learn something about how our politics actually work.
And what is the big takeaway that you want to leave readers with?
The big takeaway is that we need a more modern, more representative system to get the kind of leadership we want. Because if we keep on relying upon the current two-party system, it's going to deliver us things that right now you might think are off the table, but they're coming our way awfully quickly.
All right, Andrew Yang, co-chair of the Forward Party, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Hope to see you soon.
All right, likewise. And Andrew's new book, The Last Election, is available now at wherever books are sold.